Hey guys, what's up? It's Shla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Shla. And today was a pretty good day. I think in retrospect, things went relatively smoothly, and I would say that I'm in relatively good spirits. I can't lie, I can't deny. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the truth. That's just the truth. I can't lie and I can't deny. Today was a good day. So, we were talking about last time, because we kind of got pretty interrupted by some goings on that were going on when I left off last with Shaw. Which was, we were talking about, because I feel like I'm getting too ahead of myself when I'm talking about people's ignorance, and I'm confused about certain things and whatnot. Like a lot of times I get ahead of myself, because a lot of times it's like you come to find out that people, of course, this thing has given me trouble, so it's like, what else is new? Like trying really hard to get out on time and things not going through, so wasting time now. Like tried to be really prompt, and now it's just wasting my time. Crazy, it's still not going through. Like at this point I'm like gonna have to shift back into park. Wow. I mean, I was just beaming with how good the day was. This is like not what this is just not what I was expecting at all, you know? Because I can't leave without a true verification, because I just get like paranoid and stuff. But yeah, that's really frustrating. Whatever. Lost an entire minute of my life. Just then. An entire minute of my life just totally gone now. Isn't that something? Can't believe that stuff. And is my job gonna refund me? No. They don't even notice. They don't even care. Oh, it's just a minute. Oh, it's just a minute. Am I too uptight? Are they saying I'm too uptight? It's the truth. I want my 25 cents. I think I calculated how much I make a minute. I think it's 25 cents. Well, I don't know. Yeah, so I want my penny. No, I want my 2 dimes, because that's before taxes. That's before taxes. Roughly, might I add. Anyways, where were we at? What were we talking about? What were we doing? I'm not sure. Anyways. Here we are. We're going home. Today is Thursday, so tomorrow will be Friday. Lots to look forward to. Yeah, we were talking about time comprehension and how I would really like to be an interviewer. Really like to get my hands dirty on the streets. Super cool job, super stimulating for me. We're also getting into how, well, I mean, I don't know if this was strictly in just that last episode or not, but just that whole theory about, like I'm not good at quick intellect, anything that's rapid, so it's difficult for my kind of wisdom to show up on a test or something, as that's typically going to be, pretty rapid, comprehension of things that's going to show up. And yeah, so it's harder to quantify it. I mean, maybe there's certain questions, but I don't really see how I would get very far in a lot of things with. And also, it's like what usually matters in life is conciseness. Whereas in the AI age, so sorry, I'm like getting ahead of myself. GPT basically tells me that my answers are oftentimes like too messy. They're a little bit too out there. I'm not really concise enough. I'm not really clear enough. I'm not really getting to the point enough. And I agree with that sentiment. I really don't have any particular qualms with that sentiment. I can't really, I can't argue with that, That's basically where I'm at. Can't argue with it. Can't, I think that's pretty accurate given how I tend to move, operate, answer questions, think, all that stuff. That just tends to be, like, I think that's a pretty accurate interpretation. But here's the thing. That doesn't matter in the age of AI, because if everything's operating through some kind of filter anyways, then I don't really have to be concise, because I can just spit so much extra words and excess information, and that actually helps AI. For AI, having all those extra words and extra things and extra information, it actually enhances AI. Whereas in direct human connection or like answering questions on a test, you're going to get docked points for that. But I mean, I could be wrong. I guess there's two sides to that. On one hand, AI can probably get overstimulated or something, and in that case, it ends up being problematic. The AI, it might not really be able to interpret or read it properly. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to kind of pinpoint, but for the most part, I would think AI just does better with extra words and extra info. That would be my intuition. That it just doesn't really, like, it can sift through stuff, but it's more of an issue of a lack than a not enough. That would be my general thoughts about things. Like that is kind of the general shindig. I don't know where that's coming from. It, like, having a lot of extra words or just extra things in general, it's probably just going to lead to a better prompt. That is my assertion. And I could be wrong. I'm going to end up getting this double checked by GPT at some point. Likely. That's what I'll do. It's likely that's what I'll do. Not certain at the moment. But I probably should start to get into the habit too of just double checking with GPT, right off the cusp, right off the bat, But I just haven't been doing that quite yet. And so, yeah, we just haven't been getting into the habit. So, I'm not sure what I could do about that. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm curious to see that answer, though. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a mind, it's a brain that really, I talk about how things were easier in the past, but it is probably true that it's been made for the moment. I was just a part of a generation where it still was a little bit of the old there's a certain like expression or word I'm looking for. The old guard, I think that's the right thing. Like it was a part of the old guard. I don't know if I'm using that properly. So the old guard, I was still a part of like the normal generation. So since I'm nerdier, I was kind of the black sheep. But I feel like now, in a lot of ways, I kind of land like because the world is getting, very technical and complicated. So it's less of a weird thing, and now it's more weird if you're just like normal, because like everybody's weird now. So the normal people, it's like, of course this isn't entirely true. I mean, in a lot of cases, what it's really translating to is people having very little awareness of that and just being more like bullies and more mean than they ever have been before, because people are more different, and it comes down to tastes in appearance, taste in style. I mean, people will make fun of every little thing, and it's really for absolutely no reason at all. No, it's pretty a shame. It's a pretty a shame situation we have. I don't know. There's like not really much else to say about it. When you get used to driving at like 50 miles per hour and you go up to 60, it's not fun. Like I really don't know why people voluntarily do that. It's incredibly noisy. Like if I drove at 60 miles per hour, I'm sure it would be a very noticeable downturn in recording quality and just in ride comfort and just everything in general. I just think driving at like 50, even like 40, it's such like a therapeutic speed. Going faster than that, it's just like very crazy, very unnecessary. Like I don't know why people just casually engage in behavior like that. I just don't really think they feel the car, or they're not really in tune with the car, because I just think 50, it's such a more comfortable speed, because you're dealing with wind resistance too. And that's like the whole thing, is it really starts spiking once you hit like 55. So I'm still in agreement with when they did the federal 55 mile per hour speed limit. I'm in favor of them making cars much less fast. I was about to say much less slower, but that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? But I was about to say that. I was about to say making cars much less slower. Yeah, there should be horsepower could be way lower. There's just no regulation about it, and obviously people want cars that are fast, but it's dangerous. It's very dangerous for no reason. But yeah, I mean, the car is really like the noise and the comfort and all that stuff. It's so much better at 50 miles per hour, and I'm told that fuel efficiency is higher as well. Now, honestly don't know if that's necessarily the case. In my experience, I kind of wonder, but I GPT, it's been pretty consistent in telling me that it's been pretty consistent in telling me that like 50 or 55 is going to be the most fuel efficient, but I don't know if I really believe it. Like, it almost seems like 60 could be more efficient. It's kind of hard to tell. I would really have to do more scrutinizing. But yeah, it's also just like the ability to process things. I think even going from like 55 to 60, it just seems like such a massive difference. I mean, if anything were to happen in front of you at 50 miles per hour, you still have a pretty good amount of time to react. It's like still moving at a speed and even just that like 5 extra up, it makes a pretty big noise difference. It makes a pretty big, obviously the car's ability to handle, I think it gets pretty exponentially harder. I don't have actual science to back that up, so could be dead wrong, but my assumption is that after 50 miles per hour, probably after 40, right around 40, it gets pretty exponentially harder for a car to like handle turns properly without just, I don't know, like feeling uneasy or feeling like it could flip or whatever, just not being able to handle it too well. I'd assume it's right around like 40 is when it just starts getting exponentially worse. So of course, driving at a fairly slow speed, it's super chill, it's super laid back, it's very nice. So I just think things would be a lot safer, and really need to get back on that federal 55 speed limit. And just start fining people, you know? Just make it like an extra $1 a minute for every minute you're over the speed limit or something, you know? Put that money towards good things. You know, let people speed. Just put the fines in place. Just say like, hey, you know, if you want to do that, you need to pay your dues to society. You know, that's really how we have to start to handle things. I think that's like the wisest way to do so. Genuine opinion. I think the correct opinion too. Just in my honest take on things. My correct take on things, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It is the way I think. It's just so different, isn't it? Like, I just can't believe how people operate. It's very strange. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, you know what I was going to talk about from the start? I feel like I'm always like 2 steps ahead of myself, because I'm talking about like people being ignorant and how frustrating it is for me. And then I'm thinking about it now that I'm breaking time down into these 3 main segments of time interpretation and processing, of linear, cyclic, and periodic. And I'm realizing, I mean, a lot of people, they probably aren't even working in the right processing. Like, they'd probably like hear that and go, what? You know what I'm saying? And so I guess it's true. I mean, how can I explain a concept if people don't even know what these words mean or how to describe them? Like, I just don't even know. Like, they're not even at that point. But it really hits me, because it's like, why do I not have more? And why do all these other people have more material just because they have a job that pays well? You know, like, they really should not. I don't agree with people having more just because they worked for it. I just don't. I mean, here's a crazy idea. Money shouldn't even be based on work, because work isn't really all that impressive half the time. I mean, I think if it's hard labor, yeah, like that should definitely be the most paid things, but it's not. That's the thing. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just that's my opinion. Like, yeah, and I don't say that to mean, no, I agree. Like, if it's real hard work that takes, like, a real skill or precision to pull off, like, if you're, like, a carpenter, yeah, I mean, that's worth a good amount of money. But if you're just, like, a CEO, I mean, a CEO makes, like, so much more than a carpenter, and they're really not, I mean, that skill is not, like, here's what I think, or at least my guess about things. It is true that being a CEO, it takes a lot of good skill that not everybody has, and it's special, blah blah. But I think it's a more interchangeable skill, because a lot of times we're under this illusion that the best CEOs are those who have it, which, if I had to imagine, is more often than not, it's just kind of a luck thing. It's also like a greed thing. It's how, like, are you willing to try to grab and pillage and abuse the system, whereas somebody else might not want to do that? You know, that's mostly what I think about being a CEO is. I mean, I don't think, I would even go as far as to say a majority of people who are CEOs probably shouldn't be. It should probably be someone who is more empathetic, is more caring about, more contemplated as opposed to aggressive. Right? This is my hunch. This is my impression I get from things, and I think I'm correct. Whereas mentally, a skilled artisan like a carpenter, for example, they probably deserve more money. Because, I mean, that's something that's, like, difficult to replicate. I mean, that's, like, a real thing. So, yeah, I don't want to, because I feel like that sounds snobbish. Like, oh, well, money shouldn't really have to do with work. I don't think it should, but there's certain exceptions to that. I mean, a true artisan or true hard labor, like construction workers, I mean, those kind of jobs are rough. And so, But yeah, I don't know. I think money should be tied to what you do as a person, right? It's just hard to see that now because not everything's tracked. But once everything's surveyed, when you're born, you have a camera and microphone implanted into you, and everything's tracked, and you have a score. Like, money is not going to be attached to your job. It's going to be attached to what you deserve. Your job is not going to be a choice. You're going to already know and be told what you'd be best at and what you'd enjoy the most. And so that ship has sailed. You don't have autonomy over what kind of a job you work. You would just get paid based on how good of a person you are. That's how it would work in the future. What do you do all the time, not just at your work? The fact that, because think about that, and think about all the problems that brings about. You could just show up to work and seem like a really good person, seem like a really hard worker, and then you go home and you're terrible. You're like a aggressive person, you're a mean person, you're a cruel person, but you still make a lot of money. You'll still end up making a lot of money because, yeah. It's just about what you do at your job. You don't get judged on as a person, whereas that's what I'm saying, in an ideal system, every action they take is logged and tracked. So if you're not a good person, then you're going to get punished for that. And everybody's just going to be paid fairly based on how they act as a person. I think it's a very, very cool concept, and it's why, surveillance could really be a game changer for humanity, as much as humans are against it, which that's the reason why there's a natural instinct against it, is because humans hate accountability. That's really the, like, it's just unsettling for us. We don't really want to have to live in reality. I've never really met a human that's been as realistic as I am. Like, everybody wants to just kind of be lazy, slack off. That's just how people are. And there's nothing wrong with, well, there is a lot wrong with it now. This kind of fooling around. But yeah, I mean, people just don't want anything to do with that. So when you have a surveillance system, it's going to be overwhelming for people, because people really, that's just, you know, it's overwhelming for people. And that's kind of the thing, is it wouldn't be overwhelming for me. Now I'm like living in a world that's way behind, where I want some eyes on me, you know what I mean? I'm saying stuff where, like, I'm realizing and articulating things that it's going under the radar for some of the big dogs right now. Like some of the big players, like I really need to get into one of these AI companies. I don't know why I'm not working for them, because again, I just pay me. I'll just be in a room all day, like, shouting at AI for, just pay me like 80,000 a year or something. It's like, I'll even just stay there. I'll stay there like 24 hours. Just have me in a room. I'll be a guinea pig for 80 grand a year. Like, it's a piece of cake. And I'd be doing so much good for humanity, and I'd have a living wage and all that stuff. It's a shame nobody's reaching out. I'm trying to put these tidbits in here, like Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, like, contact me, like, get your attention, like, I don't know why these people have not found me yet, because I'm like totally overloading the algorithm and stuff. There's a lot of these theories and ideas, and I mean, some of the stuff is rough, but I'm young. Like, I should really be mentored by somebody, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that I could, like, I'm still not at my potential. I'm not. And so that's what I hope. I mean, I really need to get into one of those companies. I really do. I hope, that's my only hope at some point with this content. I mean, it doesn't really need to be mainstream at all. It's just like, I mean, somebody could see it and steal it. Now that, that wouldn't be a good thing at all. But I know, like, a lot of this stuff, I'm not always getting that deep. Sometimes it's just like light stuff or whatever. But sometimes I feel like I'm really coming up with some bigger ideas. But it's also my articulation. I mean, maybe my articulation isn't good on its own, like when you first listen to it or hear it, but when I finally got this system down, that I've got down, where it's like it's going into text, the transcription, and then it can just be pasted right into GPT. Like, imagine if I get a Neuralink in my brain and they can just grab all my thoughts. Like, my thoughts are probably even more racing than my mind, than my mouth. I don't know why that's like saying the same thing. My thoughts and my mind, whatever. I know that, again, even if I'm not paying 80,000 yet, maybe pay me like 50,000, because I'm still young. I still need to be trained, but one of the big dogs should really be schooling me. Like, I know what I'm doing. It's just like such a waste, and it's going to matter eventually. So I don't know. That's my hopeful theory, is that at some point they're just going to start running like surveillance checks for people, and kind of like things that they said and whatnot that really, like stick and matter. I think at some point it's just what they're going to do and what they're going to be doing, you know. I really think that's how it's going to be. So, just my theory, my hopeful theory that I will be selected at some point, because I just hate resumes. I really can't do college. That's not, but if I can just keep posting this stuff and just have so much content up here, and eventually they send out like AI search bots to be like, hey, you know, get us somebody with potential, get us somebody who's really, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, this guy's crazy. He's been talking about this stuff for years, and he has like hundreds of hours of, you know, that's like what the goal is, you know. But it's so difficult to say. I really could be let down. I'm not super interested in getting my hopes up. This is, at the end of the day, just like a hobby, but this is one of my ideas, so that's why I document it. But I feel like I've said it before. I don't think this is the first time I'm saying or mentioning this point. You know, I don't think it's the first time I have. So yeah, it is what it is. It definitely is what it is. I'm not really sure what else I have to comment on. The ride went by pretty quick. I mean, there wasn't too much traffic, so it accelerates things. But in general, it was like, wow, like that's always something that happens too with me talking. I just really could get pushed to my limit, like I said, just in a room filled with microphones and cameras, and like, you know, I would eventually hit a breaking point. Like, I can't talk literally all day, but there's so much stamina. So that's such an important skill. I mean, maybe it won't be in the future, because, you know, eventually we'll just have thoughts, but the thoughts, the voice, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. I still think I'm going to be suited for that, you know, still going to be suited for it. But what I'm saying is, in the future, it might get to a point where it's more efficient to just have clean thought communication, because now you kind of have issues where there's nuances in people's voices. Like, some people just have much worse voices than others for clarity, the way they speak and articulate words, the way they enunciate. Some people, it's just easier to hear and understand. Some people, their voices are much louder than others. Some, even at the same volume, some are just more legible than others. So I think it's like very possible at some point you would basically get, you know, everybody has AirPods in at all times and Neuralinks, and when somebody wants to say something or communicate something, it just comes through at like a perfect volume for each individual person, because you have to remember everybody's hearing is slightly subjective as well. So some people have slightly better hearing, some people have slightly worse, some people need a louder volume, some people could probably do better with a quieter volume. And you would look at that across the whole equalization strain, so you'd have monitoring of your hearing signature as well as your voice, and then it would basically adjust your voice for each person to make it most legible to whatever listener. And it would all get calculated very quickly. And I believe that is how we will speak in the future. I really would not be surprised, because even now, you know, if you have a microphone with effects on it and it's recorded really well, you can definitely get that to sound better than just a regular voice talking. So imagine that, but just all the time. It's definitely going to be possible. If humanity gets that far, I guess that is the question, isn't it? Question everybody's asking for. Who knows, but what I do know is that it's been schla. No, I'm kidding. I just had to do that. It hasn't been schla though, and it's not time to buy schla, but I just had to do that. So yeah, but it's a cool idea, definitely. That, again, like, because I think of just such an over technical, hyper future and stuff. I still really like my consensus though that there's nothing wrong with tech advancement. There's nothing evil about it. It's humans who are evil. It is not the technology at all. There's nothing evil about tech. I just think that it shouldn't have been mass market. Like, there's no reason why they had to waste all this like mass production of technology. They just didn't need to do that. It created a ton of e-waste. Like, they should have waited till like just about now to actually introduce it to the masses. It's been like kind of a stupid waste of time, and I don't really think many people have gotten much out of it. But I think starting now, you could have started seeing smartphones on the market, and they would have been in their proper form. But of course, I mean, nobody has the foresight for that. But that's what I think. I don't even think things should be market based, because then you're just limited based on what humans want. A lot of things like that. The iPhone Air, it's not doing well when it is the best design and just the best model, and yet it's not performing well. Not many people are purchasing it, because human judgment is poor, and human judgment isn't interested in it. So how do you square that, right? But the market wants the pro, but that's not the future. You know what I mean? So it really limits things. It limits so much, opening things up to mass market. But it would take such a crazy, because people are going to want to do it for money. Like, Apple makes the phones for money, and that was their motivation, presumably. I mean, I would like to hope maybe there was like a higher thought, especially at first with Steve Jobs. And I mean, maybe he thought more about just making a tech that was going to push humanity forward and less about just making money. But at some point, some other country would do it, even if it would really take a world government in order to kind of have the market restriction that I want. So you could have private labs of tech testing, and then you wouldn't have so much e-waste because you wouldn't have created all this junk. Same with TVs. Like, we should have just waited until flat screens came out, and people should have just funded it and gotten nothing for it. I know that's like a controversial idea, but I just think that's how it should have been. Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya schla.